see this strength from Lesnar. Went for the F5. McIntyre countered with a Glasgow kiss. 2 men remain. Who's going to win the Rumble? Claymore blocked by Lesnar. Lesnar with McIntyre up yet again. Drew McIntyre. It's going to WrestleMania. After his first Royal Rumble win, Brock Lesnar repeats. And Pat, if you are Roman Reigns, if you are Paul Heyman, what is going through your head right now?
You were listening to a snippet of the Royal Rumble 2022. I am Samantha K, and this is the Samantha K Experience. Well, guys, this is a brand new season. This is season number 2, episode 1. And I know, I just wrapped up the first season, but I said, you know what? I wanted to cover the Royal Rumble, and by golly, I'm going to do it. Well, I just want to say welcome, first of all, before we start. And I just want to, I'm so happy because I wanted to do this episode because I've been waiting for a few days while I, clear off my schedule from season 1. So I said, you know what, let me just get the last 2 episodes done. And you know what, this ended on a good note and to start the new season fresh. But I gotta say, guys, I watched the Royal Rumble last week. We were literally 1 week removed from the Royal Rumble. It took place last Saturday on January 29th out in St. Louis, Missouri, which was also the home of Randy Orton. So I guess this was a very special Royal Rumble for him, because he's like the hometown favorite. But I have to say, this Rumble, although I did enjoy it originally from the beginning, I think my first time that I graded it, I gave it like a B plus. Yeah, so I gave it a B plus, and I was like, you know what? It wasn't as bad. But then when I started to think about it and let it sit in for a few days, and I started to, as the week, started and certain reports started coming in about the show and why the show was done a certain way and how certain outcomes happened, I was like, you know what? It felt more like it was a C- show. And I'm gonna tell you why in a bit. But I just want to give you guys the matches of the show so far. So I took notes, and boy, there were a lot of notes. I first start off, the event started off with the kickoff show. It was the usual blah, 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 talking. There was no kickoff match, which was a surprise to me because there were no tag team titles up for defense or anything whatsoever. So both the SmackDown championships and the Raw tag team championships and the women's belts, none of these belts were on the line for the Royal Rumble. So there were no matches for any tag team championships, which I thought was really weird because I'm like, well, I mean, it's the Royal Rumble. Can we at least get like a tag match or something? Outside of what was scheduled to be on the show. But I guess that wasn't a thing. So they pretty much killed an hour just, giving us a brief history of what was going on, prior to the Royal Rumble. And to be honest, the way how WWE works, it's so easy for you to catch up on certain things, like certain feuds, because they don't really give you much in the way, like in a video package, you could tell me so much that happened in 2-3 weeks time leading up to the show than I could watch in an entire month's worth of watching either Raw or SmackDown, which is really weird beyond me, but I don't know. So to start things along, the first match, which was a surprise to me, was the Roman Reigns versus Seth freaking Rollins for the Universal Championship. Now, I have to say, I enjoyed this match for what it was, because I really thought that going in, Roman can't lose this belt. And I also thought that Seth can't win either. So I didn't know what they were going to do. But the whole storyline for that was that the reason why they were beefing because Roman couldn't get over the fact that Seth had turned on him and Dean Ambrose, which is now known as Jon Moxley in AEW. So basically the Shield was like this trio, this squad of people from, originally I think they were from NXT, but they invaded, I think it was SmackDown if I'm not mistaken, and they just kind of tore the place apart, just decimating people left and right. Like the Shield was that group for the modern era of wrestling. They kind of brought back some things that were lacking in the past few years. Like there were no stables in wrestling for a good chunk of time. I can't even remember the last time I've actually heard of a wrestling stable outside of the Attitude Era. Outside of things like the Nation of Domination, DX, you had things like the Spirit Squad, and Nexus that had Wade Barrett in it at one point or another, like in the corporate ministry, things like that, or just the team corporate, whatever. Like all of these things that they had before, they kind of done away with. So now it was kind of good to see like this group come and they just turn up the whole place. So basically the reason why Roman and Seth were beefing was because of the fact that when Seth turned on Roman and Dean Ambrose, it was like he hit him with the chair. So it was like he turned on him, and then he joined up with Triple H and the Authority pretty much at the time, which was Triple H, Stephanie, and Vince and Shane. But predominantly it was, from what I remember, the Authority. I think this was around maybe somewhere around 2017 or maybe a little bit, or 2016, somewhere around there. It might be a little bit earlier than that. Like they were like the authority figures for the show. So they basically dictated what was going on. That's what quoted the phrase, what's best for business. So at that time, Seth had half his hair dyed blonde and his hair dyed black. His hair black on the other side. So the idea was that Roman is now the tribal chief. He's undefeated. He's been a champion for over 500 plus days. Apparently he surpassed Brock Lesnar on consecutive days or whatever. So his idea was that he can't get over the fact that, this guy betrayed him. They were like family. And the fact of the matter is, Roman, it seems, has yet to defeat Seth in one-on-one combat. I think he must have fought him twice and lost both times. So it was the idea that he couldn't get over that one loss. And, I think that in itself, I think they could have played up the story a little bit better than what they did. But it is what it is. So the match was good. Seth had came in with the traditional Shield entrance, and coming through the crowd, and they wear like I want to say like not military gear, like SWAT gear, like the vest, the cargo pants, the black shirt, and they have like the thing like they were talking on walkie talkies or whatever and stuff like that. So in the combat boots, so things like that, you know, it was reflected of the old school days of the Shield. And I honestly gave him so much props for it that I was dying of laughter when he came through. And what had me also laughing was the fact that when the camera panned on Roman's face and you just saw the complete and utter like shock or disdain on his face, like I was crying. Like part of me was just like, you know what, to top it all off, what would have made this so much better if he had dyed his hair blonde, half blonde again, because that would have really stuck it to him. Because when he hit him with the chair shot all those years ago, he still had his hair dyed blonde. So it would have been so perfect to have seen that version of Seth Rollins come out and then just, you know, as if he was part of the Shield again. So playing the Shield music and coming out wearing the Shield gear totally made me laugh. I was like, yo, this dude is doing too much. Roman is triggered. I love it. I'm here for the foolishness. Okay, so that being said, I even made a note that said that it would have been better if he had came out with the hair half blonde, but I understand that it doesn't really fit so much of his new character these days. He's more of like, I feel like he's kind of sort of like a Joker, but he's like one of those type of characters I like to get inside your head. But the match was good. I realized that in the match, Roman didn't really get as much in as he normally would, because I feel like in a sense that Seth can out wrestle him. He's more of he has more of a broader moveset. Roman is more like a power based person, while Seth is more of like a technical wrestler. And that's fun. I know they could play off of each other's strengths and weaknesses, but I would have preferred that Roman would have pulled a little few things out of his hat, you know, so to speak. I didn't really like how the outcome of this match was, because it kind of made you feel like, okay, you know, it is what it is. But I'll get to that in a short while. So I'm just gonna run through the matches and for right now. So the match was intense. I'll give you that. Like, the match was really intense within the first few minutes. Like, it was like there was a couple of close call 2 counts, and it's like, oh shoot, there was like that little feeling that, oh shit, maybe he might lose this match. Roman might lose. And I was like, well, you know what, if he loses, then maybe now we could go back into something else different. But I was just like, wow, this is a lot. Like, this is really a lot for the time that they had. I have to give this match about, I would give this match about 3.5 stars, or actually no, I would give it about 3.5. Only because I didn't really like the ending, but I understood why the ending happened. So I gave it about 3.5, or actually, yeah, I'll give it 3.5. There you go. What I liked more about it was the fact that Rollins kept playing up in this idea that no matter how much Roman was beating him down, he was always laughing at him, because he just thought of him as a joke. Like, this was like, yeah, you can't defeat me. Like, I'm always in your head. Like, it was a lot of psychological warfare. It kind of reminded me like back in the days when Triple H used to play around with his opponents. Like, his idea was to get inside your head and make you doubt yourself, and one moment of doubt can lead into a 3 count. So, you know, you slip up, and that's when he could just move in for the kill. So he kind of reminded me in that case, the fact that he was so able to get inside Roman's head. So I think that's what I liked about it. So that match, 3.5. If you guys want to watch it, you could go back and watch it yourself. It's on Peacock. I don't do without the commercials, so be prepared for that. All right, so the second match was the women's Royal Rumble. I have to say that overall, I give the women's Royal Rumble match about a 3 or maybe a 2.5, only because of the fact that I didn't really like the way how certain things were done. There weren't really any real surprise entrants in the Royal Rumble this year, which kind of disappointed a lot of people. I'm just gonna run a quick list of who was in the Royal Rumble starting off from number 1 all the way down to 30. Okay, so the first one was Sasha Banks, Melina Perez, Tamina, Kelly Kelly, Aaliyah, Liv Morgan, Queen Zelina, Bianca Belair, Dana Brooke, Michelle McCool, Sonya Deville, Natalia, Cameron, formerly from the Funkadactyls with Naomi, and then Naomi came out at number 14. Carmella, Rhea Ripley, Charlotte, Ivory, yes, that Ivory, ladies and gentlemen, from Right to Censor Ivory at that. They could have given her Ivory from before, but they gave her the Right to Censor one. Brie Bella, Mickie James, Alicia Fox, Nikki ASH or Nikki Ash as some people call her, Summer Rae at 23, Nikki Bella, the twin to Brie Bella, Sarah Logan. I have to say, Sarah Logan actually surprised me because I didn't really see that coming. I do follow her on Instagram, and I know she had a baby last year, and I think her son that she has with Eric from the Viking Raiders, I think the baby should be about 1 right now. I think he was born in February. Hey, February people in the house. But that one actually did surprise me because I didn't see that Sarah Logan was coming at all. Like, I know she was I see her work out a lot and stuff, but that's just to get back in shape to me, because she had the baby and trying to get back into your weight and stuff. But she looked good, give you that. Lita was at number 26. Molly Holly, Ronda Rousey was number 28. Shotzi Blackheart and Shayna Baszler rounded out the pack at number 30. So I'm gonna give reasons why I didn't think that this match. You know what? No, I keep saying I want to start saying what I want to say, but then I keep changing it. So I'm just gonna hold my opinions for that. I give that match about 2.5. That's it, hands down, 2.5. There's no going around it. 2.5. So we had the third match, which was Becky versus Doudrop for the the Raw Women's title. I mean, this match was okay. It was rather boring for me personally. I don't know why I find it kind of boring. I think it was because of the fact that I was already going into the expectations that Doudrop wasn't going to be the winner of the belt. Obviously, you need to still have Becky look strong. I was just kind of annoyed at the fact that this was the only belt that was up for a title match. But I don't know, politics aside, it's just like I don't know why this was a thing. I know there was some build-up or some beef between the two characters on the show leading up to this point, and I'm just like I don't even understand why this was even a thing. This was like a waste of time. But I did like Becky pulling off her move on the turnbuckle and pinning Doudrop. It was kind of a cool spot, but I honestly this match was boring to me, so I give it about a 2.5. Now the next match was Lesnar versus Lashley. This was supposed to be the first time these two fought ever, no matter in how many years that these two men have been in and out of wrestling or in different type of mixed martial arts companies. They both had left the WWE to pursue other interests outside of WWE. I know that Lashley went on to do TNA for a few years, was quite successful over there. He's also done, I think, UFC or MMA. I don't remember exactly. So did Brock. Brock also did UFC after he left WWE years ago, and then now he's back. So both men are back. And this is the first time ever that these two men were supposed to fight, which a lot of people thought in their head, like, didn't they fought before? But like, no, apparently they did not. So this was a match that was long time coming. I just wish that this match was better than what it was. Okay. So Lesnar walks in as the WWE champion. Bobby Lashley is the challenger, and I gotta say, I kind of feel like I didn't see the ending as to, the actual ending, and there are going to be spoilers in this podcast, because for some reason I can never not say spoilers and say anything without spoiling it. So I give this match about 3.3. I give this match a 3. This is mostly out of a 5 instead of a 4. So everything you hear me say, it's like either a 3 or 2.5 is out of 5, not 4. But I definitely didn't see that ending coming. I was just like, what? I mean, maybe I was kind of leaning into hope of it being a different outcome, but I honestly did not see that one coming. The next match, which I really thought was a complete utter waste of time, was the Beth and Edge versus Miz and Maurice. I remember I wrote a note and I said with a sad face, why is this even a match? I mean, I feel like this was still layover from the whole WWE response to CM Punk and MJF in AEW with their promo work that they did about maybe 2-3 months ago now. And I feel like these guys in WWE are trying so hard to put this narrative that The Miz is even remotely on MJF's level, and I'm just like, my guy, yes, maybe you have more titles, championships under your belt than MJF, but in the short space of time, and I don't even watch AEW like that. I've only watched maybe 1 or 2 of their pay-per-views. I have to say, MJF he's getting up there. Like, honestly, if he's not a champion at any point in time within this year, I honestly don't see how he could get passed up. I think MJF is really good at what he does. He has this knack for getting under people's skin, and the things that he says is just like, oh my God. It's like he's like what an old school heel was like never breaks character, even in public, and he's just that type of guy. So I think that MJF, he really has that old school thing about him, and I think he'll go very, very far. But as a result, I just don't see why Edge and The Miz are even feuding to begin with. I just find it to be unnecessary and boring. So then now you drag Beth Phoenix and Maurice into it, and I'm just like, why? Like, I just don't understand it. I really don't understand it, and I really hope to God that these 4 never step in the ring again with each other. It's just that I don't know what it is. It's just Miz is great on the mic. He's always had great mic skills, but as a solid performer, I just don't see it, man. I don't know if it's just his offense. Like, his offense just seems so blah to me. Like, I don't know. It's just something about him that just doesn't strike fear. Like, I wouldn't be intimidated by him at all. And I think that's one of the major problems, is that I don't feel he's not intimidating to me. It just seems like that one guy that just won't shut up, and you just punch him in his face real quick and then he shuts up because he realizes that he messed up. But The Miz, I really and truly just don't see it. I get that maybe Edge wanted to wrestle with his wife. Maybe this was like a one-off. But I honestly, to goodness, can't understand for the life of me why anybody would entertain this. It was, I mean, I just don't. It just, But I guess I give this like a 2. Only because of the fact that I had to sit there and watch this. I really and truly just did not find this interesting at all. I kept on praying that Beth Phoenix just really destroyed Maurice, not like, in real life physically injure her, but to the point where they just kayfabe an injury and she just never appeared again. I mean, I just can't. I just don't see the validity in having someone who doesn't wrestle and wasn't really keen on wrestling like that come back after such a long time. I mean, you could say the same for Beth, but Beth actually, I'm gonna say it, knows how to wrestle. But I digress. It's just not a thing. So, moving on, the men's match was number 6 on the card. Oh boy. It seems like every time I think about these 2 Rumble matches, I really get really disappointed. So again, I'm gonna do it from the number 1 entry to number 30 being last. Okay, so the first entrance was AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Austin Theory, Robert Roode, Ridge Holland, Montez Ford, Damian Priest, Sami Zayn at number 8, Johnny Knoxville. Yes, that Johnny Knoxville from Jackass. Angelo Dawkins, Amos, Ricochet, Chad Gable, Dominic Mysterio, Happy Corbin, Dolph Ziggler at 16, Sheamus, Rick Boogs, Madcap Moss. I repeat, Madcap Moss. Matt Riddle at number 20. My man, Drew McIntyre at number 21. Kevin Owens, RKO at 22. Rey Mysterio at number 23. Kofi Kingston at 24. Otis, Big E, Bad Bunny at number 27. Shane McMahon at number 28. Randy Orton, the hometown hero here and hometown favorite, at number 29. And at number 30, Brock Lesnar. Oh boy. Well, yeah. There's a lot to unpack here. I gotta say, by standards, the women's match was better than the men's match. And I think I'm going to give this match although I'm going to give it about a 2.5, the same as the women's. The women did edge out a bit better in terms of just overall of just performance, I guess. Yeah, this was not good in the least bit. It was just, the outcomes were both predictable, but honestly, this could have been handled a lot better. Hell, you could have even asked Kane to come back into the Royal Rumble. I would have preferred that than fucking Bad Bunny and Johnny Knoxville. So I'm gonna start off my feelings about this and work my way backwards onto the show. The men's Royal Rumble, what can I say about it? It sucked. When you have the first two entrants of the Royal Rumble and it's AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, you have two veterans in the game and also these men have fought before in other promotions. So there goes that history. That's cool and everything. What I don't like is the fact that they keep putting in tag teams. I remember back in the day when one tag team member used to get inside a Royal Rumble, the other person was jealous, which then kind of prompted a kind of a turn on that person because of the fact, or a little bit of potential shade, because the person ended up in the Royal Rumble. First of all, they booked this whole show ridiculous, because just a few days before the Royal Rumble started, they kept on leaking out news as to who was going to be in the women's Royal Rumble. And I'm like, that's not really helpful, because then people are not going to be surprised. Yes, I might be surprised at what number they may come in, but the fact of the notion that I know that they're there's nothing for me to live up to. I mean, there's nothing for me to get excited about. Like, for instance, you could have just said, if one, Lita should never been known about that she was going to be in the Royal Rumble. Lita and Ivory and even Melina, I don't want to put, I shouldn't say even, but Melina and Lita and Ivory should have those things, like, people like that should have never been known. I don't know if Ivory was known, but I know definitely Lita was mentioned. Lita should never have been mentioned as her being into the Royal Rumble, because Lita comes from an era now of the Attitude Era and stuff like that. I grew up, for the most part, watching Lita and Trish Stratus and whatnot. Like, those were my two girls, like two ladies, when I was watching wrestling back in the day, with Rock, Stone Cold, and all of them, Kurt Angle, Undertaker, like all of them, like Triple H, all of them I used to watch. Then when they started to get a little bit older or whatever, they changed up the title to the Divas Championship, and I kind of bowed out, because I was just like, I noticed that the level of performance wasn't as good as it was before, and then the matches were short matches. But I digress. That's a different story altogether, a different topic for another time. But my point is, when you got somebody like AJ Styles in this ring, I counted that AJ eliminated maybe 6 to 8 guys in this match. And then you have Madcap Moss, who comes in at level. Wow. I must be thinking about my video games. AJ Styles, who's been in this match as number 1, started off by himself in the ring. He has, at this point, had eliminated a fair share of people. AJ eliminated Shinsuke. He eliminated Austin Theory. Eliminated Bobby Roode. He eliminated Ridge Holland. He eliminated Sami Zayn. Hell, he even eliminated his own former tag team partner in Amos. Is there anybody else he eliminated? No, that's about what? 6 to 8 people this man eliminated. And you gonna tell me he gonna get beat and eliminated? First of all, they set up, it was like a volley. Happy Corbin, no, screw that. I'm not calling him happy. It's still gonna be Baron Corbin because he's freaking annoying. I don't give a shit about him being broke or got new money and now he wants to flaunt it. He can wear as much as ugly ass discount rock dress shirts as he want. He's still gonna be whacked. Anyway, I feel like I'm feeling the energy now. Whew, I'm getting excited, guys. Getting excited. This thing is, you have somebody like AJ Styles, who's been wrestling for umpteen amount of years. I don't even know. This man was from New Japan, TNA. Mad people who knew of AJ Styles growing up and back in the day knows this man's body of work and where he's come from different wrestling promotions. And I think he might have been in Ring of Honor at one point. You gonna tell me you gonna have this man who's a former champion in your own company? He done held that WWE championship, and I think he might have held the Universal Championship as well, if I'm not mistaken. So at either point, he's held those two belts at least maybe once or twice. And you're gonna tell me you're gonna let a man, a character who is wearing no shirt, red suspenders, cargo shorts. And no, I don't mean the cargo shorts that John Cena used to wear back in the day. I'm talking about those dress shorts that your grandfather will probably wear back in the 40s or 50s, and the equivalent of fucking patent leather shoes. Red suspenders with no shirt on. Why is he holding up the shorts? Why? You let Corbin throw AJ over the top rope. After they caught him with the moves, they caught him with the moves or whatever. First of all, stop putting tag teams in the damn Rumble, because that number could have gone to somebody else that was more deserving of it. And by the way, where the hell was Apollo Crews during the time of this, or Cedric Alexander? Hell, even Shelton Benjamin. None of these three guys were in this damn Royal Rumble, but you could put in fucking Madcap Moss and Baron Corbin to be in the what? Like, are you dumb? You had how many wrestlers that could have been out there, been in there, and at least wrestled and maybe eliminated at least maybe 1-2 people before they got eliminated themselves. But you fiend to put Madcap Moss to go and set up after Baron Corbin sets up the volley for throwing AJ over, and then he catches him, and then AJ ends up getting eliminated. I cannot begin to tell you the boos that were heard after that elimination. You gonna tell me the number one entrant who was in this match and eliminated 6 to 8 guys before he himself got eliminated gets booted by a guy who's wearing freaking red suspenders, no shirt on, and the equivalent of poom poom shorts? Excuse me? Yeah, this show could go fuck themselves. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna be real, because that logically speaking does not make any sense. That's like saying, okay, we're gonna have a Royal Rumble. We're gonna have Rock, Stone Cold, Triple H, Mankind, Undertaker, and hell, for the hell of it, put in Rey Mysterio, which Rey Mysterio was actually an entrant in the Royal Rumble. That's like saying, okay, I'm gonna put any of them in there, or I'm gonna put let me see, I'm gonna put somebody that most of you guys probably know. That's like saying we're gonna put in I'm trying to think of an old school wrestler that everyone probably would know. You guys would know. That's like saying we're gonna put in what the heck? I'm trying to find somebody. I'm trying to remember. Okay, you know what? Let's just put like let's put who's of that kind of a mid-level character? I don't want to put Eugene. But that's like saying you're gonna put in Gilbert or something like that. Now I know that Gilbert is a parody, obviously, from Goldberg, but that's like saying, okay, you have somebody like Stone Cold Steve Austin who starts on the number one and eliminated like at least 10 guys before that came in after him, including number 2 and 3 and 4. You know, he eliminates everybody from 2 to 5 and whatnot. And then Gilbert comes out of nowhere and then kicks him off, and then Stone Cold gets kicked over thrown over the top, and then gets poked in the eye by Gilbert from somebody else. You know, let's say Undertaker throws Stone Cold over, and then Gilbert comes in at number like 10 or 19 or some crap like that and pokes Stone Cold in the eye. Stone Cold grabs his eye and then he falls down. He falls off the thing and falls and lands on both his feet and gets eliminated. Wouldn't anybody in their right mind would get pissed off at that? Like that just makes no sense. It's freaking stupid. I was like, so basically what you're telling me is the man who clearly had the most eliminations in this match thus far. By the way, nobody came in close to where Kane's number of eliminations. Everything was either 8 or lower, and that was it. AJ was the only one that actually eliminated as many people as humanly possible. And then not to mention, we also had Johnny Knoxville that came in and got no eliminations whatsoever. Johnny Knoxville got eliminated by Sami Zayn. The same guy that he talked trash about, he got eliminated. So he too had no eliminations at all. And then the thing that had me laughing, Bad Bunny comes in at number 27 and is putting in more work than majority of the superstars that work there. I'm like, are you serious? Y'all give him all of this space to be high flying and jumping and catching y'all with all of these moves and whatnot. But it had to take Brock Lesnar at number 30 to come and eliminate him. And I'm sitting here like, this guy's in here that did not even eliminate him and who was here before him and couldn't even get the job done. What? I was like, you guys have a singer come in here and outperform y'all in y'all own territory. Y'all look stupid. You look freaking stupid. And I'm sorry for getting like really agitated, but I just don't like seeing stupidness. If you had just went and said, okay, we'll get him let him eliminate maybe one person or something, I'd have been like, all right, okay, fine. But he outshined you guys. In fact, this is the second time that Bad Bunny actually premiered in the pay-per-view and did better than the other people involved. Or lest we not forget the fact that he teamed up with Damian Priest last year to fight against Miz and Morrison and put in the work to fight Miz and Morrison and defeated them. And these are supposed to be veterans. Say what? Okay. Now, people were talking about, there was a few things that people were complaining about. Now, everyone's been teasing about this whole Dominic and thing. Dominic is going to turn on his dad. Dominic is going to turn on his dad. My guy, Dominic was eliminated by Baron Corbin. No surprise there. Dominic came in at number 14 and got eliminated by number 15, which was Baron Corbin. So what does that tell you? Like that right there, yes, as much as he's, Rey Mysterio's son, he's pretty much getting the same amount of treatment, damn near almost as everybody else. At least he gets screen time. I mean, I guess that's nothing. That's better than nothing, right? You guys had Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford, which is both the Street Profits. Neither one of them got any eliminations, but got eliminated by the same person, which was Amos. Amos eliminated Damian Priest, Montez Ford, who both came at number 6 and 7 respectively, and Angelo Dawkins. He threw out her whole tag team. Did anybody even bother to realize why is Amos even in this match? Amos can't wrestle. He could barely walk, as far as I can see. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know I'm pretty much being hard on it, but it's like I don't like the fact that they put people in these matches who are clearly still green and can't really do much, and expect them to perform at a level where you make everyone else has to step up their level to make them look good. Like, why is he here? Anyway, that kind of pissed me off. You have people like Dolph Ziggler, who've been wrestling for years in this company, and I think we're both around the same age. If I'm not, he's probably maybe a little bit older than me. And by the way, still like Dolph Ziggler, regardless of what his situation is in this job. I'm surprised. I'm not gonna go there, but I don't want to put this energy out there. But honestly, the way how they've been treating him for these past few years in terms of like championships and stuff, I'm surprised he hasn't gotten the April 15th call yet. I really haven't. I mean, he comes today, he does what he got to do, but Dolph Ziggler isn't the same Dolph Ziggler that cashed in his money in the bank a few years ago and won the title. They really need to figure out if they want to keep him, because him and Bobby Roode, first of all, these are two singles competitors. Why the hell are they still on a tag team? Like, get tag teams. You guys had AOP and you fired them. Get legit tag teams. Okay? Thank you. With the exception of the Hardy Boys, they can do singles and they could do tag teams. But the Hardys are respectively have gotten broken up, and then they had come back together, and they're good singles and double and tag competitors. I just don't understand why they will put people who are not. Well, I can't really say that Bobby Roode was an tag partner, a tag team specialist, because he worked with James Storm, and they will bear money out in Impact/TNA. So I can't really say that. But when he became a singles competitor, like, why do we keep doing this? Stop making tag teams that makeshift tag teams. Get more tag teams, legit tag teams. Okay, now my other issue that I had with this match. So this is kind of leaning into the whole Brock Lesnar thing. But before I get into that, I just remembered something. Shane McMahon, who no one's seen since last year, I forgot last year's WrestleMania. When he fought, oh my gosh, when he fought Braun Strowman, I couldn't even remember his name for a second. I was just like, shit, what was his name again? That goes to show you how I really and truly just forgot about him. Anyway, when he fought Braun Strowman, aka Adam Scherr. Now, when he fought him last year at WrestleMania, that was the last time anybody seen Shane McMahon up until this point. And now it's like he comes out of nowhere at number 28, and come to find out, it's said and is reported that he was the one that orchestrated this whole Royal Rumble thing. Like, he did the Royal Rumble, put himself in it, wasn't listening to other producers, because I think they said Jamie Noble was supposed to be the one that was supposed to help him or help produce this show, or this match at least, and he wasn't listening to anybody. He was trying to call the shots, and then which now ultimately caused him to get fired. Apparently Dad got mad, Vince got mad, and ultimately decided to fire Shane and let him go, because Shane wasn't it wasn't brought back as an executive capacity. He was considered a talent, so I guess he was under talent contract or whatever. So the rumor is that Vince let him go, fired him. So now it's like, wow, you fired your own son. Wow, that's pretty tough. But and it kind of made you think like, why the fuck is he here? Like, nobody has seen Shane in how long? Since last year. So, and he hadn't been seen on TV. So why? So it kind of came up as, why was he even booked in this? But if the rumors are true, and then he booked himself into this, and then he, said that he was gonna go and pretty much essentially put Brock over or whatever, and I'm just like, put Brock over? I mean, dude, Brock Lesnar's been established for how many years? You don't really need to put Brock Lesnar over. If anything, Brock Lesnar has to put you over, and even then, you're a McMahon. Why would Brock put you over? Like, that just sounds dumb. It just, to me, it just sounded really asinine to me that anybody would even suggest saying that Brock Lesnar needed to put that they were going to put Brock Lesnar over. I mean, Brock Lesnar's not a small child and needs to be handled with kid gloves. I mean, don't get me wrong, Brock Lesnar isn't my ultimate favorite, but for you to sit there and insinuate that the man, he needs to give up, a spot to you, or you're gonna put him over, I'm like, do you really realize who you're talking to or talking about? If I was Brock, I would have laughed in his face. Like, I don't care like who he was related to at this point, but I would legit laughed in Shane's face. Like, that just sounds so stupid to me that you would even think that you were in that same capacity or that level to sit there and say that you would have eventually put him over. I'm like, Brock is not like a young and dumb 24-year-old guy. He's well into his 40s and he's been established. Yes, he may be a part-timer or whatever have you, but you don't get to decide for him if you're going to put him over or not. This is not technically your company. Your father runs this company and he allows you guys to work with him or work under him. This is not how this works. You can't just come in and tell somebody after a year, hey, I'm gonna put myself in the Royal Rumble as an entrant, and then you expect to, then you're coming around trying to throw guys out. I mean, even Kevin Owens came in at number 22, before about 6 people before Shane, and got eliminated by Shane McMahon. What? Yes, they had a feud before and during the last year, but Shane hadn't been seen in how long? So who the hell can we now? Like, why can we sit here and allow stupidness like this to happen? Then we had Kofi came out earlier in the Royal Rumble, and essentially Kofi got screwed himself over. I'm trying to see what number he came in as. Kofi came in at number 24 and got eliminated by Kevin Owens at number 22 because KO threw him out the ring, and Kofi landed and was supposed to land on a barricade, but both his feet touched on the floor, and clearly the camera angle picked up on that, so they couldn't even shoot away from it to say anything. I was like, both his feet touched. I saw it. Then we had to show it again, and from a different angle. I'm like, yeah, both his feet touched. From the first angle that they showed, I clearly saw both his feet touch. And even it was so bad that even the referee said to him, I hate to tell you, but both your feet touched. So whatever high spots or whatever theatrics that he was going to do this year completely got ruined, which kind of ruined whatever maybe setup that Big E had. And then this was one of the reasons why the Rumble, the men's Royal Rumble was so damn lackluster, because it was so like, yeah, he ruined the spot, which then probably they couldn't figure out what else to do, and they were scrambling to figure out who was supposed to get thrown out now, that because Kofi got eliminated too early. Because I'm pretty sure that Kofi would have probably stayed in there for a little bit longer than what he did. And then he probably would have been down to either the final 5 or the final 4. And then he would have gotten eliminated somehow by somebody, maybe even Brock Lesnar. Who knows? But this is what happens when you play around with things too much. And I guess you go too much to the well, as they say. And then this is the outcome. But yeah, men's Royal Rumble, very predictable. And they need to do better. You had other guys that could have been in there, and you picked Johnny Knoxville just because he's doing Jackass Forever and promoting Jackass Forever. I'm like, come on, seriously? You could have even brought back Kane. This is I think it's like the first time I can remember that Kane wasn't in every Royal Rumble since Kane started. Kane used to have the most eliminations, and I think Randy Orton is now tied with Kane as having the most Royal Rumble appearances, if I'm not mistaken. I know it was the same amount of pay-per-views, but I think now it's he's tied with somebody with having the same amount of eliminations. He could even gotten Kane to come back and sweep it up and call it a day, because the ring was full of people, and I'm like, get all of these people out of here, like they're not doing anything. But yeah, I'm not really happy with the men's Royal Rumble. It was very predictable and waste of time. Like I said, with the Beth Phoenix and Edge and versus Maurice and Miz, honestly, just a colossal waste of time. Like, why would anybody care about this match? I don't know. Like, yes, it's great to say the it couple versus the grit couple. So stupid. But I get it that it was done because, one, I guess he never got to wrestle alongside his wife, and that was a good thing that he wanted to do. And it was good that, both Beth and Edge got to wrestle each other. I mean, not wrestle each other, but wrestle with each other. And at that, their cute little daughters were there in the audience to see mommy and daddy wrestle together. So that, I can understand that being a good thing. But honestly, Edge deserves so much better than this. Like, he's way beyond that. I just don't see why they would waste their time putting him in this feud, this nonsensical feud. It really does nothing for him or the Miz, and it doesn't even do much for the two ladies involved, Beth and Maurice respectively. So it was a waste of time. Now, the Lesnar and Lashley match, what I did not see coming at all. So in previous pay-per-view, I believe it was day 1, Paul Heyman seemingly turns on, I wouldn't say he seemingly turns on Roman. What happened was, I guess Roman had enough of his nonsense and thought that, he was playing both sides. So Roman, removes Paul Heyman on one of the SmackDown episodes by Superman punching him and removing him. So then, of course, Paul Heyman, being the snake oil salesman that he is, and love Paul Heyman, by the way, he joins back up with Brock Lesnar. So now Brock had become the WWE champion by this time because he defeated Big E, I believe it was. Oh no, it was in a fatal 5-way match, I believe. So Brock ended up becoming the champion. So Brock is fighting Lashley. So of course you got MVP out there. MVP didn't get involved in this match, which I'm surprised he didn't, but he did not. In the end, both Lashley and Lesnar are down on the mat. What happens? Tribal Chief comes out. Lesnar getting up, gets speared by Tribal Chief. Tribal Chief goes over and walks over to the corner by where Paul Heyman is standing. Paul Heyman has he has the WWE Championship on his shoulder. Reigns holds out his hand. Heyman looks at him as he's like in fear of him, hands over the belt. Brock gets up, Nobody knows for sure which one's going to get hit with the belt. Seemingly so. Ends up being Brock. Gets clocked in the face with the belt. Lashley gets up at one point, pins Brock. Brock loses championship. Congratulations, Bobby Lashley is once again the second time WWE champion for Raw. Yay. So I'm kind of realizing that you couldn't really do a disqualification again because you kind of did one for the first match. So here we are now, and you seemingly go and I don't know what these people are doing, but they're doing stuff that make remotely no sense. And I get it, but to sit here, you couldn't make Lashley look weak, because if he lost again trying to get this belt, there'll be no point in having almighty Bobby Lashley. At the same time, you cause Brock to look bad, because then it's like, wait, shit, he only held the belt for like what, a month maybe, at most 3 weeks, and now he's not champion anymore due to outside interference and his what do you call him, his consultant or whatever, his advocate turning on him. I'm like, okay, this is fantastic, great. So now it sets up for Brock Lesnar to enter the Royal Rumble at number 30 and clean out everybody, and when it was just left between him and Drew McIntyre. And I think everybody wanted to have more of a better exchange than what the two men had, because Drew did remove Brock 2 years prior with the help of Ricochet. Ricochet set up the volley, and Drew just came and freaking Claymore'd him out the ring, and Drew became that year's winner of the Royal Rumble for 2020. That was a great moment, by the way. I've yelled so, oh my God, love me some Drew McIntyre. I'm gonna keep saying it every time Drew McIntyre name come up, like, love me some Drew. But yeah, I honestly, it just made remotely no sense. And I'm just like, okay, I get it. I get what we're trying to do, but it just seems so cheap and predictable. I'm like, okay, he's mad, so now he got to come in at number 30. So, because I guess they figured that, and this is another thing that happened with the Royal Rumble for the women's. When you have a situation like that, if a champion who's already champion comes in and they try to do this thing where they're trying to secure a spot for WrestleMania, my thing is, but you're already champion. Why the hell do you need to secure a spot that's already, like, pretty much already gifted to you? That makes no sense. Unless they think that they're going to lose the belt at the next pay-per-view, and then they just want to secure a spot. Because at that point, it's like, what are we doing? It makes no sense. So that was my gripe with the whole Lesnar thing. Like, did I see that ending coming? No, I did not. I didn't see Paul Heyman turning on him. But at the same time, I'm like, of course he might turn on him, because now he feels like he owes Roman or something like that. And then come to find out, now on SmackDown, he felt that he was more considered more family under the tribal chief, as opposed to Brock. Or he could just be playing both of them. I mean, shoot, that would be like the best thing, was Paul Heyman's playing both of these guys, and then they put 2 and 2 together. Not saying that Roman and Brock are gonna be besties, but maybe, just maybe, that the two of them put 2 and 2 together and realize, hold up, Heyman is playing both sides here. So they can't really physically beat him up because he's not really a wrestler, but they could play it smart though, because I would do that. Always get a one up on Paul Heyman. That's not a bad thing though, but it is also a little bit predictable. But we're trying to go for things that people won't see coming. All right. So that's pretty much what I had my feelings on for that match. Becky versus Doudrop. Of course, Becky isn't going to lose that belt. Like, who the hell thought that was going to be a possible thing? Like, that was just a waste of time. The Women's Royal Rumble, I mean, come on. Like, that in itself, okay, Ronda came out of nowhere after having a 2-year hiatus. She left in 2019. Didn't have her family thing set up yet until she got pregnant around maybe the end of 2020, I don't know, and gave birth in 2021. Congratulations to her and Becky for both having kids now, and now they could go back and fight. Problem is now that Ronda won, I mean, there was a few things I should go back and talk about the Women's Rumble. So they didn't have as many eliminations, but Sasha Banks getting eliminated dumb early, that was a problem for me. I didn't like that at all. I mean, granted, I understand that there's some people that don't like Sasha Banks and there's people that like Sasha Banks. I'm one of the people that like Sasha Banks, okay? I don't care. Like, I just do. I can't explain it. I just do. She could have, I'm going to say she could kill anybody and I still support her, but I like her. I like the boss. By the way, she looked very nice and cute in her outfit. She was representing Sailor Moon. So I could appreciate a fellow anime head, and I appreciate that. Plus, her husband does her costumes. So shout out to him, Mikaze, for doing her outfits. Like her outfits. Sasha eliminated Melina. Sasha eliminated Kelly. I'm upset because Zelina Vega, Queen Zelina, who came in at number 7, eliminated Sasha Banks. My feelings on that, see Madcap Moss, number 19 from the Men's Royal Rumble. See what my feelings are on that. Queen Zelina won the first ever Queen's Royal Rumble. Or not Queen's Royal Rumble, excuse me. Whoa. Strike that, reverse it. She won the Queen of the Ring a few months ago. And her other winner was Xavier Woods, who's now currently out on injury. Queen Zelina eliminated Sasha Banks. My guy, let that sink in for a second. Why? Just why? Like, really? Oh my God. Like, like I'm telling you, this is one of the reasons why I think my wrestling episodes on this show are so long, because I get so irate over the things that go on in this company and the decisions that they make. Another fan favorite that got eliminated, Liv Morgan. Everyone thought maybe she could win. Nope, not happening. Bianca Belair. Why is she eliminated by Charlotte Flair? And here's another thing, and now brings me to the point where I just talked about Brock Lesnar being in the Royal Rumble. Charlotte is already SmackDown Women's Champion. Why the hell does Charlotte need to be already going straight to WrestleMania? You're already champion. It is said that whoever is in the Royal Rumble and who's the Royal Rumble winner, they get the choice of fighting whoever they want to choose. Now, in this case, Charlotte was already champion. Is currently the SmackDown Women's Champion. Why do you need to be in the Royal Rumble, sis? That, again, stop giving spots to people. First of all, champions should not even be in the freaking match. This is a Royal Rumble and this is the start of what they deem the road to WrestleMania, stop putting fucking champions inside the Royal Rumble. If you are not either Intercontinental Champion, you are not United States Champion, you're not a member of, you're not a WWE champion or WWE Universal champion. Hell, even if they still had the European championship, even if you were a champion, like by all decree, technically Shinsuke shouldn't have even been in there either if I wanted to be like that, because Shinsuke is currently IC champion. Stop putting the champions inside the damn Royal Rumble. That makes no sense. If I already have a secured spot for the road to WrestleMania, and you have no plans on me dropping that belt between now and April, why the hell do I need to be in that Royal Rumble for? What are you securing? You already got your spot secured. There's no reason for that. There's no absolute positive reason for you to be in there. You're just there just to be there. You're just a seat filler. You could have had anybody else do something. And look what happened. They brought Ivory to come in there as right to censor Ivory, and then have her spew a whole bunch of stuff from right to censor, and she didn't even do anything. She got eliminated by somebody. I can't remember. Wait, who the hell did she get eliminated by? Oh, by Rhea Ripley, because she talked about how Rhea looked and all this other stuff and whatnot, and what she should be home doing, all this other crap. So then she didn't do anything. But I think that's because of out of respect, because she is 60 years old, and I don't really think anybody really wants to see Ivory get hurt. But then that's not fair, because then you have like Mae Young and Fabulous Moolah wrestling at freaking 70 and 80 something years old. I mean, really? But I digress on that. I gotta say, I just don't understand. That Sasha Banks thing just pissed me off. Her getting eliminated just really angered my soul. You had like there was a couple people like, why are the Bellas here? Again, tag team. Why are we here? And then what happened? They eliminated each other. Like, why are we here? How many times do Brie and Nikki need to be in this thing? You could have hired anybody else to come through the door. Mickie James, you guys fired her last year. Put her stuff in the fucking garbage bag and sent her on her way. First of all, still ultimately disrespectful. And even if you did apologize to me, I will never work for your company ever again. I don't give a fuck how you call me and offer me as much money as humanly possible. I'm not Mickie James. I'm not her household. I don't know what her financial status is. I'm not gonna say she was stupid for doing so. All I'm going to say is this: that could not have been me. You're not gonna disrespect me that bad. And I was a champion for you about 6 times, and for years ago, and then you don't treat me like that, treat my stuff like that. I don't care how many apologies you give me. That was completely and utterly rude. And somehow, whoever put my stuff in there probably got word from who else than the big man himself. Because you cannot treat somebody like that. They let her come in with the Impact Women's Championship. That's great and everything, but that could not have been me. You know whose pick that I would have been surprised to see? A surprise entrant. If they had Tessa Blanchard come in there, I would have been like, holy shit, and nobody would have seen that shit coming. That would have been definitely one of my number 2, at least 1 to 2 picks that I would have had. Had her come in there and nobody would have expected it. They'd have been like, oh my God, she's here. Because, of course, she still has controversy surrounding her about not so nice things that she said about people of color or whatever. But what can you do? There have been people that said worse stuff and still came back to interact in some capacity. Hulk Hogan. But I digress. Moving on. Don't get me wrong, they had people of color up in here, because you had Cameron, Naomi, you had Alicia Fox. You know, you have a couple of people, a few people of color in here. Bianca Belair, of course, Tamina, Melina. There's some of these others I don't really know their ethnicity. Cause, you know, just for the fact is because some may look a certain way and they might not be that way, so I don't really want to call it for what it is. But I just don't understand why she was in there. And then in one moment we could have had Ronda versus Shayna. That ruined by Charlotte. Charlotte eliminates Shayna Baszler. And I'm sitting here like, here's another woman that could have who was decimating people at a few years ago, who's dwindled down to so much. Shayna's a former shell of herself. It's like this, I don't know. This whole Royal Rumble was just a mess. This whole show was a mess, and I just can't understand. And then the last but not least, the Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins match. I honestly don't understand, like, that ending where he puts Seth in the guillotine, and the referee lifts up the arm, and Seth holds on to the rope. But apparently, the tribal chief don't understand the meaning of letting go, and he doesn't break the 5 count. So then Seth wins by disqualification. And then he does a post-match assault on him and hits him with the chair. I even wrote in my notes that maybe it's poetic justice, but the crowd doesn't see it that way. But Roman is victorious in his own mind because of the fact that, well, you know, I'm the real champ, and that's all that matters. And I remember at one point when the referee told him let him go, and he said he won't let me go. And it was just like, oh wow. It's like when you think about things like that, and when people say certain things like that, you're like, wow, that's actually poetic. Like, in his mind, he won't let him go. So I actually did like that part. But I do realize that Roman does a lot of talking in his matches now, and it's just like when you pick up on things that he says, and it's just like, that makes perfect sense. So I didn't really appreciate the outcome of the match, but I understand why it was done. It kind of made it look like he couldn't beat him fair, unless he had to choke him out or something. But in his own mind, he's victorious because he beat him. He finally got to do the thing that he did to him all those years ago. He could finally sort of let go of that part of his past and move on. So it was more of like, in a way, I feel like I'm telling more of a story for them than what they're actually giving the fans, giving us as viewers at home. But I feel like that's what happened. Well, that was a lot. I guess on a little piggyback here, something I did just realize that I forgot to mention in the Royal Rumble. I mean, you got Ronda coming back, and a lot of people don't like Ronda for whatever reasons. I think a lot of things that she said on social media about wrestling and stuff like that. But I think that was because she was trying to make herself to look like a heel. I think that's what it was. But I guess in her way, I guess it didn't really translate well. It just kind of came off as she's just being a, you know what, to the fans and to the other wrestlers. But I think now the women's division needs some serious help. I don't know if she's going to be the right woman for the job. I think if she had matches with like people like Shotzi, or if Ronda came in and started from the ground up, it made her look strong amongst other competitors, I feel like that would be the better solution. Like, to have her start off small and then work her way up. But I guess because the company feels like they can't spare the time to have her go against people like, let's say, a Shotzi Blackheart or when she was there, maybe I don't know, Sarah Logan or something like that. Like things like that, it just pisses me off. Like, I really and truly feel like they should have had her start her from the ground up and then work her way up. Hell, you could have freaking put her in NXT, and it, well, before, when NXT was actually good, and make Ronda go through the whole process. Had her fight people like a Raquel Gonzalez or something like that. Why does it have to be, oh, well, you know, have her start right at the top just because her name is Ronda Rousey? Like, don't get me wrong, I do like Ronda. I really do. Like, I get why people may not like her, but at the end of the day, I don't give a shit about things like that. Is whether or not the person can actually do what they're supposed to do. And I feel like it's unbecoming and it's not fair for the other talent to get pushed aside because of somebody who supposedly has a bigger name than them come in and pretty much is gifted a championship title shot as opposed to them. So when I say, like, when you see people like, where's Cedric, where's Apollo Crews, where's this person, that person, you gotta keep in mind, like, these people have been wrestling for years and have been put in these contracts for, you know, to wrestle or be part of the company for like 3 to 5 years, and they're not even getting any real burn. Like, what happened to Apollo Crews' push? What happened to all of that with him and Aziz, Commander Aziz, and all this other stuff? What happened to all of that? Like, he was only there like that for like what, a few months, and then he just faded into the abyss. Like, this company needs to change, and there's a lot of things that need to be fixed. And just bringing in somebody who's either part-time or hasn't been there for like a couple of years and pushing, and they're getting opportunities and pushes over people who've been there for years and just sitting and catering, doing nothing. And then you expect these people to go on tour for you across country and across the world, away from their families for umpteen amount of dollars, and re-upping their contracts for what? Just to only get the, you know, see you later by around April 15th. And then you stuck them with a 90-day clause where they can't do any type of performing. But yeah, they're considered independent contractors though, right, Vince? Shit has got to change, WWE. You really got to get your act together. From it sucks to see that I grew up in the Federation years, watched the Attitude Era. I kind of bowed out a bit in the PG. I kind of stopped watching, and then I came back into whatever the hell this era is. I guess this is PG like 2.0 or some crap, or 3.0. Nothing has changed in the past 10 years, 15 years. And that's really sad. If anything, certain things have gotten better and some things have gotten worse. But you guys really need to get your act together. This whole way of thinking that you guys doing absolutely sucks. And I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed for you. Gotta do better, man. Whew, that was a lot to unpack. I'm tired. And whew, maybe I can go and just relax and get something to drink, guys. Well, that's the show. This was season 2, episode 1, my recap of Royal Rumble 2022. Congratulations to Royal Rumble winners Brock Lesnar and Ronda Rousey, respectively. I am Samantha K, and this is the Samantha K Experience, and I'll check it to you next time. Peace. Enjoy your rest of your weekend, guys. Goodbye.
Yo, poppin', Popcast. Love it. Thank you, sis. Moonstruck, love it. You are amazing. So all I can do is pray for greatness for you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. You rock.